How's it going, everyone? Welcome into the Grip Lock preview of the Cascade Challenge. This is the first time this event has been on the full Pro Tour. It has been a Q Series before. It's been a silver event.
They really
before,
teased it, haven't they?
But here we are.
Yeah.
It's time for the full Pro Tour event. I watched Bedanza's course preview of this because I wanted to see this year. It seems like, from what my understanding is it's a similar course to last year. Well, it's the same course, but a lot of the holes are kind of reflowed.
Yeah,
and there's
that's
a
what it
few
looked
changes.
like to me.
There's they made a par 4, par 5, I believe, or the par 5 might be a full new hole.
Well, for
It's a
example,
little hard to follow, but the course in general, if you've watched the previous years, same property, same style, just a little different.
well, when I was watching last year's coverage, they get to the second or third hole, and it was 960 feet, and they're like, "This is the longest hole in the property," and I'm like, "Well, that's not going to stand. The Pro Tour doesn't. No, that's not what they.
Yeah.
That is not how they operate. If there's a 300-foot par 3, they're going to try to make it 450, and if there's not
There's
1,000 footers,
490 par 3, I think.
Yeah, well, I think it was because I think it was normally a par 4, but in any case, now there's multiple 1,000 footers. They've lengthened some holes. There's still I think the theme of the course is still overwhelmingly consistent.
That's
it's
what I'm
just
trying to
they
get at, yes.
definitely lengthened it and reordered some things.
Yeah, so it's a pretty awesome looking course in my opinion.
It's very fun to look at.
It fits, from our experience playing Pacific Northwest disc golf, it fits that vibe.
We're very experienced.
Pretty well. We played 3 courses up there.
Yeah.
But what I mean by that is it's a wooded track, but when you hear woods, if you're an East Coast boy like us, you have a certain picture, and it doesn't fit that picture.
Poison ivy.
There's not, there's not the mini cross branches coming across where there's plenty.
They're tall, thick trees.
Infinite ceiling.
Yeah.
And even in the rough, it's not shorter trees in the rough. It's more underbrush.
Yeah.
And then you still have just the big trees make up even the rough. So it's a tight fairway, but it's not tight in the sense of you can see through the rough, which makes it feel more open than it'll actually play.
Yeah.
As far as the actual fairways go. But I do think that it's going to be you're going to have to still scramble. And so people who are good at scrambling in really tight woods should translate, but I think scrambling is a little bit easier than a Northwood Black.
I say part of the reason for the scrambling is some of the par 4s and 5s, they'll even the pros, and the pros seem to like this course, but they'll even say there's not really there's an open drive, and then it's kind of whatever you get is what you get. There's some holes where it's not necessarily a super clear path to the basket, and so you're kind of trying to make do with what you get. And looking for distance off the tee. It is always interesting whenever you're talking about there are obviously a lot more gaps to be found in this kind of wooded style, but you also, in East Coast, you get a lot of tall, thin trees. So if you miss your line by 2 feet, you might just miss the tree on the right side. Whereas you get thicker trees, you do have to miss your line by a larger margin to not just smack right into the tree. So that is an interesting thing with when you're talking about hitting tunnels and stuff. You might actually get less of those lucky breaks when you do have thicker trees. So because you're I guess you definitely have to throw a worse shot to get around them.
The luck might be more blatantly obvious because it's not he barely pulled it. It's he grip blocked the crap out of it and got through.
I guess for the pros who don't miss their lines by huge margins like we do, maybe it doesn't happen as often. But there still is some open shots as well. But it's definitely the theme is you got to be hitting your lines.
Yeah, it's a gap hitter's course for sure. But it has plenty of distance. And what I think is going to be interesting about this is it looks like it's the type of course that could bring a lot of the field in. Because it doesn't look like there's too much there's not too much trouble. To
be fair, we said that at Champions Cup, and that was the correct take. Brought a ton of people into play.
Yeah,
so.
And I think that's probably going to be the vibe here because there is some OB, but not a lot.
No, it's not really
the scrambling, like I said, is a very friendly scrambling. So I don't really see it being something where people are going to shoot themselves out of this tournament. And you can even see that some in the previous years. I mean, last year, I believe it was last year. It might have been 2 years ago. I think it was last year when Nicklaus won. He won by a considerable margin, but it was a weak field because it was a Q Series event. So I believe the only other really notable pro was Ezra Robinson was out there, but you didn't have the Ricky, Paul, Ganon's crew. You didn't have Isaac Robinson. There was a lot of guys missing. Whereas this year, you're bringing all of them in. So you're almost merging the Q Series field with the Silver Event field. And the Silver Event field, the winning score was still up there. I believe Ricky shot a 29.
Yeah.
And Nicklaus shot a 28. But there was a lot more players in that 20, 23, 24, 25 range.
It's very shreddable in the sense that The holes aren't it's not a super long course, and there are fair gaps to hit. The problem is you have to be on constantly, because if you hit early trees, and there'll be quite a few lines where you might have to hit a 15-20 foot wide gap like early, and some of those like stay that width for some length. Bogey comes into play really quick.
Yes,
because even on the shorter par threes, like that's kind of the defense of the hole, is like you do have to hit a gap. So I think it's all about creating momentum and working your way under par before like running into those speed traps. Because I think watching them play it last year, there was a lot of guys who just struggled getting off the starting line because you grab 2 birdies and then make a dumb bogey and like kind of set yourself back. It was difficult for some people to get going, but when you could, double digits is well into play. I think there was like a 14 under either last year or the year before. And I would expect in a strengthened field where there's so much more opportunity for a really hot score, like I'm sure if the conditions are good, we'll see multiple double-digit rounds each day. Like that wouldn't shock me.
This is technically just outside Seattle, I believe, correct?
I'm not sure on the exact location.
I'm just trying to look up weather.
Oh,
'Cause I don't know the exact city it's in. Well, it looks like rain if it is just outside Seattle.
I don't know. Where are you basing that information?
I believe Bedanza said that.
Oh, okay. I was like, Washington's a big state. That was a crazy stat.
I believe he said it was just outside. Okay, this is in Shelton. That's the technical. Washington.
We're getting everywhere else in the world right now is getting rain.
Okay, so it looks like rain Friday, Saturday, clear Sunday currently.
Okay.
Is that what's going to end up holding? I'm not sure. It looks like a pretty much all day rain. So playing in some rain doesn't look like crazy wind.
You're in the woods though too. Like if you're in the woods, as long as it's not downpouring, the rain isn't really making much of an impact. So especially when it's not windy. Like that's kind of the vibe. I would be a little disappointed, honestly, if there wasn't
hour and a half
rain.
outside of Seattle. So he must have said hour and a half, and I heard half hour.
Well, that's not that bad.
Close.
I think I'd be a little bit disappointed if it wasn't a little overcast and rainy in the Northwest.
That's
you got to
true.
have a little bit of that. Maybe for the Northwest Challenge, the next event, it'll be better weather, but we need some of this murky Northwest weather.
I am expecting the score required to win to kind of hold around that 28, 29, even with. I don't know if it's going to be rough weather. It doesn't look like it's going to be rough, but I feel like if you get to 30 under, you're probably well on your way if you average 10. Because, like I said, it went 29 under for Ricky to win, 28 under for Nicklaus to win. The course gets harder, but the field gets deeper. It's probably going to end up being
low 30s,
upper 20s, low 30s required to win. So, but the good part of that is, like as Trevor pointed out, if you shoot an 8 under round 1, the 12 under's out there round 2 to get you to 10.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to necessarily. You're not going to win it in round 1. You could shoot yourself out of it if you shot close to like an even par, but I think we're going to see a very jumbled up leaderboard until the back 9 of the final day.
I think that the tricky thing, and I forget, somebody mentioned this, it might have been Alden on commentary mentioning it about the course, where like it can just be a frustrating one for some people because birdie looks achievable on so many of the holes, but like the shots can be slightly precise and you can feel like your round is just going nowhere at times. So I think that that's kind of part of the issue for some players is like avoiding the frustration if you come out and make 4 pars in a row.
Yeah.
And trying to build something from there.
Now, as we look at past player performance, Nicklaus is the defending champ and has gotten off to a hot start this year. He won back-to-back events before finishing outside the top 20 at Champions Cup. However, he did last weekend take Ganon Burr to a playoff that he went on to lose at Daylaw. So he still got it in him. If you were questioning that, do you think he's going to be able?
That was Masters Cup?
Yeah, it was Masters Cup, Santa Cruz Masters Cup. Do you think he's going to be able to secure his 3rd win of the year out here?
For starters, did you see his jump putt from the top of the world?
Ganon's, yes.
Unbelievable. If you didn't see that on his Instagram, he jump putted a driver.
It was at least like a jump putt throw. It made me feel a little better because like with his arm, it's basically like me doing a standstill back.
Yeah, I mean, it was still outrageous. Yeah, I think Ganon, Ganon hits lines.
I was talking Nicklaus.
Oh, I forgot we started Nicklaus. Nicklaus, I'm not surprised that he does succeed at this track because, he is, I think when his backhand is on, it's very consistent. I think this is a pretty backhand-friendly course. It is funny that we've seen, like, obviously, Ricky throws forehands really well, but that's not the completion of his game. So, like, I don't think there's much stock in that. I think that with Nicklaus being able to throw consistently good backhands, like this course suits up for him. But it's not like I look at him as a specialist. Obviously, he found the recipe for success, but he won a Q Series. So, like, I'm not going to put a ton of stock in that. But, you're playing against the course. So at some point, you do have to say, well, he did find success. It's just like, now there's so many other talented players in the field, or there are other players who are really, really going to dominate it. I did just come to meet James Conrad is who they gave credit for that 14 under. He's the one who had the 14 under.
I believe he came in second or third a few years back.
Another very good backhand player, because I think it is, a lot of the there is some turnover shots and some rollers that like are turnover shots and rollers, and then a lot of the like shorter par threes kind of play as hyzers. So I think that kind of makes sense there. So, yeah, I mean, I still like Nicklaus. I'm just like, I'm not really bought it. I'm going to give him the stock of like, yeah, he's a good player. He's been playing well this season. I'm not going to be like, ooh, he's a favorite because he won a Q Series last year. It's, if he played the same tournament this year, shot 28 under, I don't think he wins.
So you think it's going to take?
I think it's going to take, because I think the winner of the tournament is going to have one of those rounds like 12, 13, 14, and then 2 close to double digits with it. Like I just see somebody putting together 3 hot rounds out there.
Yeah. I think I believe Nicklaus is my favorite to win. I picked him to win this week, mainly because I think it's a crapshoot as far as who. I think there's going to be so many players in the mix. He is the one who's already won twice this year, and he does have past success at this course. Because we'll talk about Ganon here in a second, where like he would be, I think, a lot of people's favorite just by he's Ganon Burr. But I do think there is something to be said about like when you've done it out at a course before, you're going to feel a little bit more comfortable. You're going to have a little bit more swagger. I mean, we saw it with Nicklaus at the Open at Austin. They introduced a whole nother course, and the dude's still able to go out and win it. And I think there is just a little bit of comfortability of I've won on this property before. So I think that that's just going to give him a little bit of an edge. But I'm not going to say he's 100% going to win because, as we were talking about, I think this tournament's going to bring a lot of people in. And when it brings a lot of people in with how good the field is, it's a coin flip at the end of the day. So it makes sense to me. His game makes sense. He's a very smooth backhand player. If he's hitting gaps, I think he's going to be just fine, because I do think this is going to lean a little bit more towards the backhand players. Also, just because when you're doing some of these like snaking, slow turn shots, the forehand a lot of times just ends with a little bit more skip because you can't add as many RPMs, so you can't get the disc to have that soft landing nearly as easily with the forehand as you can the backhand. So I think that's why it's going to play a little bit more towards the backhand players. But there's so many backhand players nowadays that it's like that doesn't mean amount to a hill of beans. But I do think that Nicklaus, I like his chances coming into this. So let's talk about Ganon. Ganon back in 2023 played this event, lost by 11. 2024, he didn't come back to this event, although Ezra Robinson did. Ezra seems to be the only one of that friend group that did. So I'm assuming the whole friend group went somewhere else, minus Ezra. But he lost by 11 in 2023. How much weight do you give that performance when looking at his chances this year?
Not really much. I mean, 11 shots can pile up pretty quick, and also 2023 was really just kind of the beginning of his reign anyways. Last season I think would be a lot more telling, because last season I'm really not one to carry over things a ton with players, just in certain circumstances, and like last year's data from Ganon is somewhat telling because he was so consistent everywhere. So if there was an outlier, like you might be able to look at that and see something, but because he didn't play there last year, I think that kind of writes it off for me. I don't think that this course lines up super awesome for his game necessarily, but like he should be able to play well. He's one of the most accurate throwers of the disc when he's on. So, if he's the one, like if there's a handful of guys who get hot and hit their lines and he's one of them, he probably wins because he's super dialed. His putt is insane. So he's still going to find himself in that stack somewhere that is in contention going into day 3. So I like, similar to Nicklaus, it's like I like him here. There's no reason to not like him. I think whenever you have a course like this, you're going to write off maybe some of the big distance arms, some of the big forehand arms, but neither of those two players fall into that category of like that being their specialty. So
I would give a lot of weight to his performance in 2023 if I knew his reason for not playing in 2024, because Ganon is a player who like he can sometimes get himself in a tournament or out of a tournament before it ever starts based on how he feels going into the event. Like if he just doesn't like a course, there's sometimes where he has that, like, I feel like he sometimes has a hard time getting over that. He's been better at it, but I think it still exists where, like, so if 2023, he played the course, played it bad, and for whatever reason, he didn't like it, and that is why he didn't go back in 2024.
Yeah.
Then I don't like him this weekend at all, because I think that is still going to carry in where he's like, well, I'm playing it because it's a full pro tour, but I don't like it. And the second a bad break happens, he's going to be able to start using that of like, well, yeah, I don't like this course for blah, blah, blah. I don't know that that's why he didn't go back.
Maybe he's clueless on Instagram.
True.
Maybe he's hit us with like a super excited for the Cascade, love this one-of-a-kind course. So bummed I couldn't play it last year because I had the flu.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't play it last year. I just did find it interesting that Ezra played and none of the other Vlog Squad played.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was a little unique. So like I said, if this was a course where he didn't play it intentionally because he didn't like the course, whatever, then I don't like him here. But there's no way to know that. And what Trevor said is 100% right of like, there's no reason game-wise to not like him out here.
Yeah.
If he's hot, then he's going to be able to beat, like him at his best beats everyone else at their best. So if Ganon Burr's at his best this weekend, the course is a non-factor. Now, one player who I think this course could line up with well is Isaac Robinson.
Yeah.
When you look at this course, it feels like one that could work well for him, and he is known to be a bit streaky, and he just got hot at Champions Cup. So do you think he's able to carry that into this event, or is he, going to be an event by event guy?
This is like the one, man, especially when you're looking at like the betting lines and such, like it slaps you right in the face because it looks like the most obvious yes. Because it's like, oh, we're going to kind of a shorter, really wooded course right after a guy just dominated and won a major. Like it seems very like if anybody seems like they should be penciled in for this one, it's Isaac. I'm just not quite buying it. I think, well, for starters, all the precedent we have so far says that Isaac just doesn't really win Elite Series events. He's won one, which I know is just kind of like, it's not really an argument, but at some point there has to be something to it if it keeps happening. And also, I think it is difficult. Like, there's kind of a hangover that comes along with winning a major. You pour so much into that, you get the win, you celebrate, like you're so pumped about it. And I don't think, obviously, you go in with good vibes into the next tournament, but I think a lot of tournament success, some players bank on that, but I feel like Isaac's success comes from when he's really digging deep and maybe really searching for a win, because of the times he's won in his career, a lot of times they come off the back of seasons that were kind of unsuspecting. And so I think that's the kind of player Isaac is. I've kind of figured out is like, he's the most dangerous when he hasn't won all year and you're heading into a major where he's going to be focused on a major and really digging for a win. I don't know.
There's a fun stat that I just looked up.
Okay.
And, maybe it's going to change everything you just thought about.
Okay.
His previous 3 majors,
yeah,
he has followed up with a second-place finish at the next tournament.
Hasn't won, though.
All 3 in a row.
Hasn't won.
He hasn't won. But in his defense, we're talking D-Glow, which that is
a compelling statistic.
Not a great course for him. Then Champions Cup, Jonesboro.
That one makes sense.
And then Worlds was the Discmania Open, which I believe...
That Pickard. That also makes...
Is that
Pickard? Oh, no, that was in
here?
Canada.
I don't think
Nobody was there.
Pickard.
That was the one with Eagle at Canada.
Eagle won. He lost him in a playoff.
Nobody was there at that.
That was a silver event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Canada.
but still.
But every major he has won, he's coming second at the next event.
Well, sheesh.
And this is an event that the course lines up. So basically, he does play well at the event.
I definitely, and like, to be clear, I definitely think he's going to, like, I'd be surprised, honestly, if he was outside the top 10 at this event. I'm not favoriting him as much as perhaps the circumstances point towards.
I just changed my top 3. I just put Isaac Robinson in there. I can't look at that stat and not put him in my top 3. How's it not allowed? I didn't submit it to anyone yet. I took Ricky Wysocki out, put Isaac Robinson in. Stats are in his favor. Stats are in his favor.
Who did you take out?
Ricky Wysocki.
Oh, I love that.
Ricky's out. Ricky's out. I put Isaac in.
Yeah.
I put him in second. That's statistically where he's going to finish. He's 100% of the majors he's won. He come in second place the second time, the week after.
Is that all the majors?
He's won 3 majors. This was his 4th, and this is the next one. So,
what happened after Idlewild in 2022?
That's a great, Trev. These are the questions, but that is an elite, so I'm not going to weigh this. I'm
only say that because imagine if it was second place.
That would be a Let's look at Isaac Robinson 2022.
It would probably been followed up by like D-Glow again.
Idlewild. Okay, Brent Hamrick Memorial in A tier was the next tournament he played, and he came in second. So every win, he's coming second to the next tournament.
That is even the A tier.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Shoot, I'm in trouble, boys.
He's in second.
I'm in trouble.
Isaac Robinson is coming in second place. Use that however you need to. I'm using it to put him in second in my top 3. You can change it if you want. It's my research. But
no. I like that you took Ricky out for that.
Ricky's out.
but man, I'm just thinking about those lines now.
Ricky's out, Isaac's in.
8.5.
Yeah.
Guarantee.
Now we have Paul and Ricky. They're both looking for their first win of the season, but also just looking to continue decent starts for both of them. Who do you expect a better performance out of this weekend?
Rick. I mean, I really hope so now, but I think Ricky is really due. Paul, here's the thing. Paul has been good this season. The last event, though, was a weird one because he basically made his entire tournament success off of one round.
Yeah.
And the things I see out of Paul right now is he's still able to get around the course with, like, pops of brilliance, whether that be for a round or a stretch of holes. Like, that's what he's thriving off of. And, like, gosh, he just seems like on the brink at any moment. Even when he's playing well, he seems like he's on the brink of collapse. Like his putts are hitting every part of the basket. Like like everything looks so nervous on the putting green. The shots, like half of them, they come out of his hand and he doesn't love them.
Yeah,
like he's just not exuding a lot of confidence. And I still think that he's right there. And like he's probably going to string it together and get a win at some point this year. But I have to like Ricky more. He hasn't been amazing this season, but he's kind of figured it out. And I think that he's due, has the win here when it was a silver event. So I like Rick more at this one. Paul, I feel like we may be in a slot for Paul to take one of his worst finishes of this year. And that's not saying a lot because he has played very well, but like maybe like 25th, like instead of like living closer to the top of the leaderboard where he's been.
Yeah, I got to agree mainly just because of the way Ricky's trending. We've been kind of waiting for Ricky to turn it on, and he's been getting very better.
Close.
And again, he's won out here before. I think he's going to have that confidence coming in. I had him in my top 3 until that Isaac Robinson stat. I just took him out. But I'm still expecting good, like a really solid top 5 performance out of Ricky. That could be a mistake.
That was a mistake.
But hey, you got to be risky. You got to be risky if you want the biscuit.
Ricky 2-time.
You got to be. Nope. I was going to keep going. I'm just not.
Okay.
That gets too complex. But I expect out of both of them, Ricky's going to beat Paul this weekend. It wouldn't surprise me if they both played solid, but I do agree that I think this course, if you're slightly off, could be a really frustrating course, whereas Champions Cup, like you could live a little. You could be a little off and be okay out there. And then when things went wrong, they went really wrong for Paul. So looking at that precedent,
well,
you have to worry about a course like this where if you're off a little bit and get kicks early, it can get a very frustrating course, and it could just throw him off his.
The
his
good
thing.
news, at least, is like there's not a ton of OB, so like at least your mistakes can't catapult into that necessarily.
But Ricky's also such a good scrambler.
Yeah, no, that's why I like Ricky's ability to throw so many different shots, and also have that long range putting threat that he's like I feel like heated up a little more and more with. So, yeah, I like Ricky this event. Anyone
else you're looking at?
Ezra Robinson, big time. I think similar to Isaac, obviously really strong backhand player. I think I was just watching him from last year's coverage, and obviously he didn't win the event, but like some of the shots he was executing, I think he's just gotten better since then. Like it looks like there's a lot of lines that he's going to like out there. I think if his putter can get hot, I really like him at this event.
Yeah, I mean, of course I like Ezra, but I'm a little biased. So, no, I think this is going to be a tournament where you could name anyone in the top 25.
There's going to be a lot of shifting. Like from day 1 to day 2 and 3, there's going to be a lot of shifting.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an absolute blast to watch on the MPO side.
It should be a really fun course to watch.
It should come down to the wire. All signs point to that. So we'll see if that ends up being true, but that's the feeling going into this weekend. Now, over on FPO, we have another event with the European FPO players out of the field.
Sucks.
This style course doesn't necessarily play to Holland's style, but many are still considering her the favorite out here. Do you agree with that, or are you looking at someone else?
Yeah, I don't think she's the favorite. I think the favorite is Missy Ganon. I think she's a little more accurate. Obviously, she's got a little bit of good momentum going right now. But I think that I think that there's just nobody in that field. So like, Holland's gonna have the opportunity. I'm really waiting for Own to kind of make her presence known. To be honest, like I'm waiting for Own to like get in the mix, and maybe this will be her opportunity. But like, there's just not. I also look whenever you get to a field like this. I look to somebody like Kat Merch and like, okay, is she gonna make a move?
She's won here before.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really know what's gonna go down in FPO, but it's going to be fascinating. I mean, there's just not a lot of players out there, so if you're Holland, because of that, you have to put a good effort out there. But yeah, I mean, the course doesn't really line up to her game necessarily. Good news is not a ton of forehands, but that's also good news for a player like Missy.
Yeah, no, I do think I think Missy should be the favorite. I think statistically she's not, but I think she should be the favorite going into this weekend. It does fit her style, but to Trevor's point, Holland's gonna finish fine because Holland is a very talented disc golfer. And there's just when you take the FPO out of the European you take the European players out of the FPO field, it drastically wounds them even more than in years past because you lose Silva, you lose Evelina, you lose Kristen, and even Henna, even though she's not challenging for the win, she still is in the mix. Well, when you're looking at players' lines that are like 8.5, 9.5, taking Henna out affects that.
How many top 10s does Henna have this year?
Great question.
I don't know.
Great question. This is why I have my laptop with me now because we just ask too many good questions that, Henna Blomroos.
I feel like she had like one tournament.
She is, what is that, 3 for 5 in the top 10.
Oh, that was a 10th.
She went 15th, 3rd, 6th, 26th, 10th.
You're right.
So that's what I'm saying. When you're looking at a Rebecca Cox at 9.5, and you take out Silva, you take out Evelina, you take out Kristen, you take out Henna, it's like, who else is filling it?
You're right.
Now, I don't know if Rebecca Cox 9.5 is a line should be going near.
I think
but
Anniken
I'm just
is
making a point.
I think Anniken Steen is
another great
but is she? I think she's there.
She might be. Typically she's separate from the
I was gonna say
when Evelina, Henna, they all almost travel together. Like when one of them's gone, they're all gone. Anniken can be different. Let's see.
I think I saw her in the mix there. I might be wrong.
Anniken Steen is there. Yeah. Yes.
Represent.
And Like Lorenzen's there.
Team Lucky.
But yeah, you're missing Henna, Evelina,
Paige
Silva.
Pierce will be interesting to watch.
Paige is gonna be very
This
interesting
should
to watch.
not be a course that Paige should thrive on.
It shouldn't be,
Tight.
but
It's tight.
who knows? She came back at Champions Cup, put her name in the hat.
Her last win was where?
Portland Open. Right?
Portland. So Northwest is kind to her. Very different style of tournament.
Completely different, yeah.
But Northwest
Is Northwest.
next week, and honestly, she won't even get that tournament because she'll be playing half Glendoveer, half Milo whenever they go there.
Yeah.
So bummer.
Well, all right, that's gonna wrap up our storylines. Let's hop into our pick'em. We need something magical here, Trev. We're going to
Plenty of time, plenty of golf,
Tour life.
plenty of golf. We got
Giants.
We got crushed. Oh, by the way, don't let me forget. Like, call me out. I can't take Paul in my top 3 the rest of the year.
Oh yes.
So,
I forgot. Did we even talk about? I think we talked about it
on Grip Block.
On Grip Block.
We did.
Yeah. The electric Calvin round. All of you who watch this show and don't watch Grip Block, let me just address it. We figured out why Calvin has a solid major resume, because when the dude's out of it in garbage time, he can just light the course up.
It was the funniest possible.
He threw him.
thing to happen.
He almost missed the cut. And next thing you know, he's in like the top 5.
Yeah. He took 8th.
So that would have got us some points if we would have listened to me. But oh well.
The coin. It was
Here's the good news.
fault.
Calvin Heimberg, not
even
at
at
this
today.
tournament. Okay, so FPO. Do we want to start with FPO?
Let's start with FPO
because
because
Kristen, we can't take her. So we're going to be taking. I think you got to go Missy Holland, right? And then we get someone from the $2 tier.
Yeah, I think that's the safe
Do
play.
we go?
Do we take Paige? Do we take Paige right in their face?
I don't like Paige in this tournament.
Yeah, who else do you like?
I mean, we could go Rebecca Cox.
That didn't work for us last time.
It didn't. Anniken Steen. Well, let's look at Anniken's history.
Oh gosh! If they double up on Paige and beat us with Paige again, though, I'll be so flustered.
Anniken's come in the top 10 once this year.
Yeah, I think.
I think we stay away from Anniken.
I don't think that's a good idea.
That's a great one.
Do
we go? Let's look at Rebecca Cox. The one time we picked her, she basically died on the course, and by that I mean she came like 25th.
Yeah, maybe we just timed it up
Did
wrong.
we just time it wrong? No, she came 41st. Rebecca.
Cold. She went cold. Is it time to heat back up? No, I don't think she's like.
She's went 28, 13.
Is there
41st.
a player in that field that like is like, oh, if it's like a shorter, tighter course, is really gonna like benefit?
She didn't DNF Champions Cup. She just came in 41st.
Good night.
Is Rebecca Cox that player? She needs shorter.
No, I don't think so. It's definitely
what
not.
What about Eliezra?
No.
What about, is that Valerie Mandujano or is that Alexis? I think that picture's Alexis, but I think Valerie Mandujano's out there. I don't know if she's playing this tournament or not. Or do we forget Holland and put Kat Merchant?
No, I think we need to take Holland and Missy.
Missy, Holland, and Emily Weatherman? Is that? that's a player.
Is there anybody in tier 3 that's gonna? Is Haley King there? I don't think she is.
Emily Weatherman just has.
Is Haley King there?
This event?
Is she playing? You should probably keep open that tab, the Cascade open tab.
Upcoming events?
No. I mean, what are we doing? Like, the field is so wounded. Maybe we just.
People just don't go to.
Okay, well, like
West
maybe we're
Coast.
overthinking it then. Like maybe we do just need to take Rebecca Cox because like who else is there? It's like that's the only pick.
Hannah Wynn.
No, let's just take Rebecca Cox again.
Emily Weatherman. We try Rebecca Cox again.
But like, what else are we gonna do?
I just gave you a few options.
I don't like it.
Let's look at Emily Weatherman.
Oh my god!
Did I just look at her? I think I did.
Yeah, you did. And you were like, oh.
Yeah. It's not good.
No,
it's not good. Let's
doesn't
look
have any top
at
tens.
let's look at Hannah Wynn.
Yeah, maybe we're overlooking.
Okay. She came top 10 at Waco. She came 7th at Kansas City, top 10 at Champions Cup, and just came 2nd.
Okay, Hannah Wynn. You've been selected.
She's available.
Yeah.
That's her right there.
She's in the bottom tier. We even have $1 to spare. We're being
budget conscious.
Very fiscally responsible.
We'll go Holland, Missy, Hannah Wynn.
Never thought I'd see the day.
All right, Hannah Wynn. Oh, I forgot the Y. No, I didn't. I forgot the H. Okay,
It's a
now
tough one.
MPO. MPO is going to be tougher.
Very tough.
Do we go Ganon? But if we take Ganon, it obviously knocks out Niklas, Isaac, Ezra, Paul, Rick.
No, I kind of fell in love with the Isaac thing. Like maybe we take Niklas Isaac.
Do we go Niklas Isaac, or do you like Ricky Isaac, or do you like Paul Isaac? I think we avoid Paul.
Yeah, no Paul.
Do we go
Isaac.
Ezra Isaac? The brothers.
Just the brother duo. Dude,
I feel like when one plays good.
I feel like I like Rick Isaac.
We go Ricky, Isaac, and then tier 2. I mean, Eagles played good out here before, but he's kind of terrifying.
Oh man, Buckets has been like pretty decent this year, but I don't. Eagle, I feel like Eagle. This is not like it shouldn't set up super awesome for him.
What's Matty O been up to this year?
I think he's just become a watered down version of Matty O, where like he still does okay. I think he's still like decent, but he's just not living in the top 10 like he was.
He came in 8th at Music City. He came in 16th at Kansas
Had a
City.
bad Champions
42nd at Champions. Yeah, he's just not.
He might be okay at this course though.
That's why I was just trying to look at like backhand players. I don't even know if he's playing. He's not playing. I don't think.
Austin Turner's playing. Do we grab Austin Turner? He's gonna throw a lot of forehands though.
I mean, he only has he has 2 top 10s. Supreme Flight.
Yeah,
and
but
Music
like,
City.
how many of the guys in that tier even have top 10s?
Good point.
Like, I don't know. There's many to
Hammers.
find. We also
Let's look
could
at
take.
Hammers.
We also could take. Oh, Hammers is in that tier.
Yeah, let's take a look at Hammers.
I don't hate that.
He just came in 5th at Champions
Let's
Cup.
take Hammers.
Let's go Hammers.
Because he's played the course. He played it last year.
I think we go Ricky, Isaac, Hammers.
Gosh.
Boom.
Dude,
Boom.
And we're gonna and you already know we're just gonna lose because they're gonna pick Ganon. Ganon's gonna win.
Probably.
Live by the Ganon, die by the
All right, let's get into our predictions now. Point standings coming into this week. I have 40 points. Trevor has 30. In MPO, I'll start because you already know my 1-2. I have Niklas Antelo winning. I'm taking Isaac Robinson in 2nd, and I'm taking Ganon Burr in 3rd because I feel like I'd be dumb not to put him in the top 3.
I know. It feels like he's like the token 3rd place guy. I have him in 3rd as well. I've got Ezra Robinson in 2nd and Ricky Wysocki in 1st.
All right, what about your FPO?
Missy, Holland, Ella.
Okay, I have Missy Holland Cat merch.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge fan of the Ella pick, but I think she kind of had an off week, and I feel like one of the two, Ella or Holland, is going to play well, and so I'm just kind of betting that.
There you go. Now for Dark Horse, I'm taking Matt Bell.
I've got Corey
I believe he's playing
Ellis
this weekend. Hold up, actually.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
I don't think I can go back.
You didn't.
Thank goodness he's played.
I
would have let it stick because I said it out loud.
I took Corey Ellis, short run-up king, and yeah, he's going to dominate.
All right, well, there you have it, ladies and gents. Watch the Cascade Challenge over on DGN. Check out all the live coverage and all that fun stuff, or check it out on Jomez, and we'll be back Monday to recap everything that goes down out in the Pacific Northwest. We'll talk to you then.